For most of human existence, life followed a rhythm set entirely by nature. The sun rose, the sun set, and between those moments, humans did whatever was necessary to survive. There were no cities, no written laws, no money. There were no borders dividing land, no permanent homes tying people down. Only open landscapes, shifting seasons, and a constant search for food. Early humans lived as hunter-gatherers. They moved across vast territories, following animals and seasonal plants. They understood nature deeply, not through books or science, but through observation and experience. They knew when the rains would come. They knew which plants healed wounds and which ones killed. They knew how to read animal tracks, clouds, and wind. Life was dangerous, but it was balanced. Contrary to what many people believe, early humans were not miserable brutes barely surviving. In fact, evidence suggests something very different. Anthropologists studying ancient skeletons discovered that hunter-gatherers were often taller than later farming populations. Their bones were thicker and stronger. Their teeth were healthier, showing fewer cavities and infections. Their diets were diverse. They ate meat, fish, fruits, roots, nuts, seeds, and honey. This variety provided nutrients that farming societies later lacked. Even more surprising is how little they worked. Studies of modern hunter-gatherer societies suggest that people spent only 3 to 5 hours a day securing food. The rest of their time was spent resting, socializing, playing, crafting tools, and telling stories. There were no 9-to-5 jobs. Children learned by watching adults. Knowledge was shared freely. Food was shared equally. There was no concept of wealth as we understand it today. No one could own land because land could not be carried. No one could hoard food because moving constantly made hoarding impractical. If food became scarce in one area, the solution was simple. They moved. If predators appeared, they escaped. If danger grew too great, they left. They were vulnerable, but they were free. For tens of thousands of years, this way of life worked. Then humans noticed something small, something that seemed harmless. They noticed that when seeds fell onto the ground, plants grew. They noticed that certain areas consistently produced food year after year. At first, this knowledge was used carefully. Humans might return to the same place during certain seasons. They might protect a patch of plants or help them grow. But over time, an idea formed. What if we stopped moving? What if we stayed in one place and grew our own food? At first, this idea sounded brilliant. No more long journeys. No more dangerous hunts. No more uncertainty. Food could be controlled, predictable. So humans made a choice. They settled. They cleared land. They planted seeds. They waited. This moment marks the beginning of what we now call the agricultural revolution. And it was the most important mistake humans ever made. Not because agriculture is evil. Not because progress is wrong. But because humans adopted farming before they were ready for its consequences. Almost immediately, life became harder. Farming demanded intense physical labor. Fields had to be cleared by hand. Crops had to be protected from animals and insects. This work lasted all day. Backs bent under the sun. Hands blistered. Joints wore down. For the first time, humans experienced repetitive labor on a massive scale. Diet changed drastically. Instead of eating dozens or hundreds of food sources, early farmers relied on just 1 or 2 main crops: wheat, rice, maize. This lack of variety weakened the human body. Skeletons from early farming communities show signs of malnutrition. People became shorter than their ancestors. Their bones grew thinner. Their immune systems weakened. Teeth suffer the most. Grain-heavy diets caused tooth decay, infections, and pain that hunter-gatherers rarely experienced. Then came the greatest threat of all: crop failure. When hunter-gatherers failed to find food, they moved elsewhere. When farmers failed, there was nowhere to go. Fields tied people to the land. A drought could destroy an entire harvest. A flood could wash months of work away. Insects could eat everything. One bad season meant starvation. And because people now live close together, new problems emerged. Disease spread rapidly. Human waste contaminated water sources. Animals lived near humans, passing illnesses between species. Simple infections became deadly. Minor cuts turned fatal. Children died in large numbers. For thousands of years after the invention of agriculture, human life expectancy actually decreased. Life became shorter, harder, more painful. So why didn't humans abandon farming? Why didn't they return to hunting and gathering? Because agriculture created a trap. Once people settled, populations increased. More food allowed more children to survive. More children meant more mouths to feed. To feed those mouths, more land was needed. More land meant more farming. The cycle reinforced itself. Fields could not be abandoned easily. Homes were built. Storage pits were dug. Humans became tied to the soil. Freedom was exchanged for stability. Even when stability failed, people could not leave. This single decision triggered a chain reaction that reshaped humanity. Permanent settlements grew into villages. Villages expanded into towns. Towns became cities. Land became valuable. And for the first time in human history, land became property. Property introduced ownership. Ownership introduced inequality. Some people controlled more land than others. Those with land gained power. Those without it became dependent. Leadership emerged. At first, leaders organized food storage and protection. Over time, leaders demanded obedience. Rules were created. Punishments followed. To protect land and resources, humans invented war. Conflicts over territory became common. Cities fought cities. Weapons improved. Violence escalated. To manage growing populations, humans created hierarchies. Kings, priests, soldiers. To measure value and exchange goods, humans invented money. To justify power and social order, humans created laws and belief systems. Social classes formed. Some people lived comfortably. Others worked endlessly. Slavery appeared. Empires rose. All of this complexity, all of this suffering and progress grew from one simple choice: to stay in one place. The irony of agriculture is painful. It made life worse before it made life better. Yet humans adapted. They always do. They developed better tools. They learned to rotate crops. They built irrigation systems to control water. Food storage improved. Surpluses became possible. Over generations, life slowly improved. From farming came specialization. Not everyone needed to produce food. Some people became builders. Some became artists. Some became scholars. Writing emerged to record harvests and ownership. From writing came history and knowledge. From knowledge came science. Medicine improved. Engineering advanced. Technology emerged. Every city, every invention, every modern comfort traces its roots back to agriculture. Your home, your electricity, your phone, this video, all of it exists because humans survived their own mistake. History did not move forward because humans were intelligent planners. It moved forward because humans endured suffering long enough to adapt. Civilization was not designed. It was forced. Each generation carried the burden of the previous one, slowly improving conditions over thousands of years. The price was high. Generations lived shorter lives, worked harder, suffer more, so that future generations could live better. So what was the first human mistake that changed history forever? It was not fire. It was not war. It was not technology. It was choosing a harder life and refusing to give up. And maybe that is the true story of humanity. Not a story of perfection or wisdom, but a story of adaptation, of survival, of turning mistakes into progress. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, take care.